This morning, Jonah, all 4 chapters, and we've read some from that first chapter. It's a great, great book. He's a minor prophet, but there's absolutely nothing minor about his message. Now, please, before you get too far into the book of Jonah, there's sometimes people think that, well, the biggest thing in the book of Jonah was the fish. Oh, no, my friend. The biggest thing in the book of Jonah is the heart of God. Now, as we begin reading, it's very important when you do some comparison reading. The King James, the New King James, and many other translations don't do it justice, verse 2. Let me tell you why, okay? If you go back to the Hebrew, okay, I'm not a real good Hebrew student, but I can read some. And he says, arise, go to Nineveh, that great city. It's not translated to its fullest, all right? It is, in the Hebrew, Nineveh la Elohim. Nineveh la Elohim. All right, what does that mean? It means this. Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city in the sight of God. That's important, isn't it? Listen again. Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city in the eyes of God, okay, and cry out against it, for their wickedness has come up before me. Every city that you'll ever find, particularly in the United States, I guess around the world, you think something anytime you hear the name. For example, if I talk to you about New York City, you think about that city that you think Frank Sinatra, that never sleeps. If I talk to you about San Francisco, what goes into your mind? Some of you left more than that, but I left my heart in San Francisco, right? I mean, it is. If we think of Paris, we think of the French and the French ladies, or maybe we think of pastries and coffee. Well, when you thought of Nineveh, now the Bible is explicit, as Jonah writes it, that Nineveh, go to Nineveh, that great city in the eyes of God. Oh my, it was a great city, but boy, they loved to pick on you there. And not only that, if you weren't a Ninevite, odds are, if you were stopped for something, they just like killing people. And I was saying the other evening, one thing that they enjoyed doing, the Ninevites did, and I'm trying to be too gross about it, but they would usually make these impaling poles. Some of them 8 to 10 feet long. Both of them had points on the end of them. And what they would do is, to their enemies, they would many times put the pole, boom, into the ground, and then lift up their enemy and impale them. That is, slide the other sharp point underneath their skin, run it right along their spinal cord to where the top of the point picked out here, and they just left you there to die in the hot sun. And if they didn't do that, you know what the Ninevites enjoyed doing? They enjoyed skinning people alive. Yeah, that's how they got their chuckles. I'm telling you, we think of cities, but now why then would the Bible say, God say, go to Nineveh, that great city in the eyes of God? Because at that time, Nineveh was the largest known city in the world. Matter of fact, if you want to know exactly where, it was made up of 3 suburbs, but if you want to know exactly where Nineveh was, there's nothing left today except 4 mounds of dirt. Big mounds, all right, if you will. It's located right on the Tigris River. Matter of fact, if you'd like to go there, we can get you up a trip and you'll go to Mosul, Iraq. And once you land in Iraq, you'll get get on your bus, and they'll take you there to the east of the Tigris River. And there in Mosul, right outside Mosul, you will see what remains of this great city. Now, understand, God knew something great could happen. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been a great city in the eyes of God. Okay, we know later on in Nahum and other minor prophets, we know that that city was soon destroyed. But what was going to happen was God needed a man to go and preach. He's always needed someone to go preaching the word, always. And so Jonah was a prophet, though he had not been prophesying much. God says, hey, Jonah, I need you to go. And he said, no, no, no. And if you knew the Ninevites would do that to you, would you have gone? Now, let's just be honest. If you knew that there was a group of folks who lived in Nineveh, they were Ninevites, and you knew that you were from Greenville, South Carolina, and God said, hey, you need to go to Nineveh, would you go? Come on. Jonah said no. So what he tried to do, he tried to get as far away from God as he can. And I'm here to tell you, you can run from God, and a lot of people like to run from him this day and age. You can run from God all you want, but I'm here to tell you, God will be right where you left him when you decide to come back. And I've seen this over and over and over again. People who know God is telling them to do, it might be in their work. It might be changing jobs. It might be going to school. It might be working in the church. It might be, but God is speaking to you. And you know God is speaking. Nobody else could speak that clearly in your soul. You know it. You know it more than anybody. And yet you say, nope, I'm going to get out of here. And you move. God is right where he's always been. Reminds me of the story of Ma and Pa. Remember the story about Ma and Pa when they went to McDonald's? Ma and Pa had been married 56 years. And they pulled into the McDonald's that they loved on Friday night. Woo! After 10 o'clock, you couldn't find a parking place. And I'm telling you, it was just like the wagons were circling. Those young people driving around and cruising is what we used to call it. And cruising, looking for friends in that McDonald's parking lot. And here's Ma and Pa driving. And Ma looks at Pa and says, Pa, just look at those children. Look at those young people. Look how close they're sitting. Why, you couldn't even put a piece of paper between them. Why, there's that one woman, that one girl looks like she's sitting in his lap. My goodness, I can't believe how close they're sitting in the car. Pa didn't say a word. He kept driving. Ma turned and said, Pa, I remember when we used to sit that close. Pa said, Ma, I ain't moved. God ain't moved. You follow me? God, he doesn't move. I'm here to tell you. If you are running from him, he's ready to receive you back. He wants you back. But you got to come. You come on his terms. See, when you got saved, you just simply said, yes, your majesty, what is it you would have me to do this day, if you will? Okay? Joseph's son always used that as a beautiful illustration. He would just simply stand and say, yes, your majesty. What would you have me do on this day? Well, God wants you. He needs you. A lot of folks run because they think he's given them an impossible task. But he doesn't. And he won't, because he loves you too much. Now, let me tell you why this gets even better. Now, Jonah's running away from God, thinks he can hide. Yeah, it's amazing how many people think they can hide from God. We become just like children, just like our baby grandchildren. Do you know, is it amazing? If you have a grandchild or a small child, a nephew, niece, and let's say they're 18 months old, if they cover their eyes with a pillow and they can't see you, they think you can't see them. It is fascinating. If you don't believe, you play pee-pie and things like that. I hope we never get too old to play pee-pie with our children. Anyway, and they think because they can't see you, you can't see them. You know, we're no different. You think running from God and not coming to church and not doing what you used to do for the Lord, you don't think he can't see you. You don't think he doesn't know what you're doing. You don't think he knows where you are. Come on. He most certainly does. He's right where you left him, and he's right there waiting for you to come back. We've been studying on Wednesday nights the aha experience, just like over there in Luke chapter 15, verse 17, the prodigal son had the aha moment. He first came to himself, and he realized what he'd been. Sometimes we have to have an aha moment to come back to the Lord. Now, hear me out. This is very important, because sometimes we miss this. Okay, he's in the boat, trying to run from God, trying to hide from God. The boat, the seas are terrible, and then something happens. They decide to throw him overboard. Matter of fact, he's, go on, throw me overboard. I'm the one who's causing all this. Now, let's not forget something here. The Lord had prepared, verse 17 there, chapter 1. The Lord had prepared. All right, the Lord knew what was going on, and he knew what was going to happen. So they picked him up, threw him into the water. Now that water was raging, it calmed down. The Bible tells us that a great fish, folks, I don't know what it was. Some people really, they say that it could have been a sperm whale. They say that. Or they say it could have been a great white shark of some 18 to 20 feet long. I don't know what it was. I just know that when he was thrown in the water, listen to me carefully, God prepared a great fish, as the Bible translates it, and tells us that Jonah was swallowed by that great fish. Now, wait a minute. All right, prepared a great fish. We don't know if Jonah was in the belly of that whale or fish for 3 days, alive and well, or we don't know if he was in the great belly of that fish and he died. And after 3 days, he came back to life and was vomited back up on the coast by that whale, because the whale couldn't stomach that preacher. There's a lot of folks like that. But anyway, he just makes a big belch, and out comes Jonah. We don't know if he died or if he's alive. It really doesn't matter, does it? What did Jesus say over there in Matthew 12:40? He says, just like Jonah, 3 days in the belly of the whale, will I also be 3 days, and then I will come back to life, and I will be raised and resurrected. Let me tell you something. For Jesus to compare his coming experience with Jonah, and you're going to tell me there's no way this could happen, and yet you know Lord Jesus Christ spoke it. How dare you say this isn't true? It's most certainly true. It's the real thing, my friend. Jesus would have never used it as an illustration. Now, it gets better. Whether he was dead or whether he was alive, marine scientists tell us this. The gastric juices inside a sea creature that size, if you put a human in there for 3 days, you're going to singe every hair on your head, possibly, and you'll be with no hair at all. You'll singe your eyebrows. And matter of fact, your hair will turn white. Your eyebrows, if they're still there, will turn white. Your entire body will be, if you will, a ghostly white. Are you with me now? I mean that type of white. Eerie white. 3 days, here's this man in the belly of a fish. Fish can't stomach him anymore. Gives a good belch, and out he comes on the shore. Now, odds are, now listen carefully, odds are there were people out there maybe sunning in the sun. The children might have been running up and down. And all of listen, you don't look when you see some big creature coming toward the shore. Why, if you see a porpoise, sometime you go down to Myrtle Beach or Destin in Florida or places like that, and you see the porpoises out, boy, you get everybody out of bed, and they come just to look at a far distance to see the dolphins. Fascinating. Well, you don't think there were witnesses to this thing? Of course there were. Of course they were. God prepared the fish. They didn't know why. God did. So here's this guy, I mean, just white as a sheet. and they watch him being thrown out of the mouth of a fish. Well, you say, and then God, now he of course he goes back to God. I would too if I'd been in the belly of a fish. And God gives him a message to tell the people of Nineveh. Yet 40 days and Nineveh shall be overthrown. Yet 40 days and Nineveh will be overthrown. 8-word revival message. The entire city got saved. Chapter 4 of Jonah tells us there were at least 120,000 that didn't know their left hand from the right hand, probably meaning the children. So there were probably 200,000 people in the city of Nineveh. But now wait a minute. Even the king immediately embraced Jonah. Why did he do that? Well, let me tell you so you learn. It's not in the record here, but it is in the entire biblical frame reference. The Ninevites had a god they worshiped. You know who the god was? Dagon. They had a huge temple there in Nineveh called the Temple of Dagon. Everybody had to worship Dagon. But do you know who or what Dagon was? Dagon was a man, half fish, half human. Now wait a minute. Their god they worshiped, half fish, half human. Mermaid, if you will, kind of like. All these people come into the city saying this man here was vomited out of the mouth of a whale. He must be Dagon. So, within just a few days, the entire city had surrendered to God, the God that he was proclaiming. And the God he was proclaiming wasn't the God of Dagon, the fish god. It was Jehovah God, Elohim. You see, God knew that great city in the eyes of God, remember. Nineveh, La Elohim, tells us that Nineveh was a great city in the eyes of God. And so this man gets carte blanche, if you will. His name is Jonah, being thrown up out of a big whale, and he goes around preaching, yet 40 days and Nineveh will be destroyed. My goodness, even the king himself, all of them get saved. And they give their heart, and their life changes completely. All because, now understand, God turned around and used Jonah's waywardness and his running to bring ultimate glory to God. I mean, think about it. If Jonah hadn't been running down there and gone down to Joppa and gotten on that boat and gone to Tarshish, which was west, and God was calling him to go east or northeast, if you will, to Nineveh. I mean, God made all of this. It happened. God put it all together. He did. And it all happened. And it's because of one man's disobedience, and he couldn't live with himself. He knew God prepared that fish, as it said right here. There in chapter 2, you read the prayer that basically Jonah was uttering sometime while in the belly of that great big old fish. And then you see as he goes over there in verse, if you will, verse 4 of chapter 3, yet 40 days and Nineveh shall be overthrown. Verse 5 says, but the people of Nineveh believed God, proclaimed a fast look, and put on sackcloth from the greatest to the least of them. Everybody in that city. And if you don't think that can happen, go back and read some of the stories of Charles Grandison Finney, a great preacher who came to the United States before the Civil War. He did a lot of work in Rochester, New York. Matter of fact, so many people, listen to this, somewhere between 1830 and 1850, I think are the dates. Charles Grandison Finney was his name. So many people were saved in Rochester, New York. So many people got their heart right in Rochester, New York. Listen to this. They contemplating closing the jails. Matter of fact, for almost 10 years, nobody ever went to prison. Ever. I'm talking about New York. I'm talking about Rochester, New York. Why? Because one man was obedient, came from England over here, from Europe over here to the States, went to Rochester, New York. He also went to Evans Mill, New York. He also went to Rome, New York, and preached some great revivals before the Civil War. Matter of fact, the story is told in one of those cities, they had to put an ad in the newspaper. You know what it said? It said, to all of those who had stolen tools and now have had a change of heart, please stop bringing back all the stolen tools. We have no room to put them. People, we're doing. You see, what happens is this. One person, God can use one person who will be obedient. And hey, it doesn't, you might have a storied past. You may have a past where you ran away. That's not the issue. Will you be obedient to what God is calling you to do? Well, Jonah said, hey, after I'll do it. And so he went back. And where was God? Remember, God was right where he was when Jonah left him, ready for him to go and preach that word to Nineveh. May we all be faithful as we seek to serve him. Bow your heads as we pray, please.